Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and a quick shout out to Mads. You know who you are. Thank you for the inspiration for this video right here. And it's about UML and how to create UML diagrams for creating Java projects. So there's actually many purposes for the UML diagrams, and it stands for Unified Modeling Language, just to begin with. And we have a lot of tools that you can use. There are the visualparadigm.com. I tried that one. Actually, I did not like it, but they have a lot of the documentation in there, and there was also a free version that you can try. I think there was, or maybe it was just a maybe it was just actually a trial because it actually it cost a lot right here at least. So yes, for some reason, all those tools that can handle UML, they are quite expensive. It's because it's a business department, and maybe it's architects that buy these tools, so that is why they can actually charge so much. I found some free alternatives that I'll show you. First of all, if you're using IntelliJ, the ultimate version, if you're paid for that, then you can use UML to actually document whatever you already have done. So that means that when you have created this beautiful and perfect Java project and Java system, then you can just press Control Alt and then U, and then you can actually get a nice diagram up, and then you can save that as a .uml file, which is just XML, or you can save it as a picture if that's what you want to, as an image. But it is also used, UML is also used when you want in the planning phase. So when you want to create a new complex system, then you want to visualize how should these classes interact, and how should these which interfaces should be made, which fields should they have, which scope should they have, should they be private or protected or public, these fields right here. So it is actually used as a kind of or they are used as a dialogue, a tool of dialogue. So if you have, especially if you have many divisions and many developers that has to work together, maybe they have different opinions about how this new system should actually be designed, and how the data model actually should what it should look like. Then UML can be a good start. But as soon as you start your project, then I must just warn you that then your UML diagrams, they will probably be obsolete, because when you start programming something, then you find out that there was something that should have been made differently, and then of course the UML diagram, if not updated, then it will actually show something that is out of date, right? So, and that happens very, very, very fast. So what I will recommend is that, yes, if you need to use the UML for dialogue, then do that. And then when you're done with that, then of course you can store it somewhere just for fun, but do not think that that is exactly the system that you will end up with. This is the Drawio, and you can get a free version if you just go to app.diagrams.net, which I am right here. And there are also plugins if you're using Visual Studio Code, which I am right here. Then you just click the extensions button in the left side right here, and then you search for Drawio like this. And as you can probably see that I should already have this installed. Drawio integration. I should have installed it. Okay, VS Code Draw. I'm pretty sure it is installed because I just installed it. And if I create a new file right here, you can test it by just creating a file, mic.drawio, like this. It is not installed. Okay, so let us, okay, I'll search the marketplace. I'll do what it says right here. It is this integration right here. I was just sure that I already had installed it, but it was actually on another machine. That's why it was on another computer. So you just installed it. It's free to install, Drawio integration right here. And if you create a file that ends with draw.io, then you will get this, then you can use this extension. And while it is installing, it actually did not take that long. It's actually done already. So let us go to mic.drawio right here. And does this UI look familiar? It should, because it is actually the same UI as we have right here. And since you can use UML for a lot of stuff, you can use it to symbolize a timeline. You can use it to show a user experience. That you can use it. You can use it for to show how a user goes from the beginning of the system to the end of the system. Which journey is the user actually using? And which journey is the user going through. And there's a lot of other stuff you can also use it for. You can also use it for as a communication diagram. So then you know how you should communicate with external services. What would you expect to get returned, and so on, so on. So it can be used for a lot of things. Tonight I'm going to focus on the class diagram. So that is why I have this class right here, and that is why I search inside this little box right here. You can just write class, then you get then you get all of the widgets that has something to do with classes. And it is the same if I go to VS Code, which I have right here, Visual Studio Code. If I write class right here, enter, then I'll get exactly the same boxes up right here. Whether you want to use the web version or if you want to use an integration for VS Code or for maybe Eclipse or maybe for IntelliJ, of course, that is totally up to you. I just like this Drawio. I think it's quite cool. I want to name this class right now because now I'm designing this new system. I want a spaceship. I want a spaceship class inside my system right here. So that is the name of the class. And here we have some fields, and try to notice that there's a small sign in front right here. There's a plus. A plus means public. So if you're a Java developer and you want to create a public field, then you write plus. If you want this to be a private field, then you write minus. If you want this to be package protected, then you write a tilde if you can. Actually, my keyboard has been set up. Okay, that was so. Here is the little wave. The wave right there. That means package protected. Package protected private. It means that it can be the default, or it can also be the protected scope. So this is the scope of your fields. So you want these fields to be seen outside your class. Then you write plus or the little wave. I do not want that right here. I want an ID, and that could be the type of integer. So now I have an ID for my spaceship right here. You could argue that if you use Lombok and if you annotate your spaceship with add data, so you get getters and setters for each field, then you could argue that these fields actually are publicly available. I would actually say so, but of course that's up to how it's up to your definition of public and private and protected. Because the field itself is actually private, but you would actually create methods so you can access them from the outside. Yeah. Then we have. Then we have an ID. Then we have a type of spaceship. This is a ship type, and that could be a string right here. And then we could have a ship type. Then we could have this could be fuel. How much fuel is left, and that could be. And let's just say it could be a big decimal. So this is fuel left. If I want to have more attributes I can copy, then I can just copy one of the existing ones, or I can find the attribute right here. Then I can drag it in like this, and then I can drag it inside my spaceship class right here, and now I have an extra attribute. So then we can add something else. We can add crew members, a maximum number of crew members maybe. That's an integer, like this. Let me just see if I can actually get a method inside this class right here. Because it's also possible to use methods. Maybe I will skip that right now. So this is a class with some attributes. Another thing you would also see in a UML diagram, that is also you would also see the methods inside the class. You would actually get a line right here, and then you will get then you will have the methods in the bottom right here. And I'll show this in the IntelliJ integration in just a minute. Another thing is that you would also have lines to other classes. That is the whole idea. You want to visualize something complex. You want to make something complex actually easy to see and to get an overview of. So let us say that I want to have maybe I have an interface right here that could be a flying object like this. And all of these flying objects, maybe they have a method of, we can give it a method. Could say that this would have a method of, maybe it could be nice if it could land. So it would have a landing method right here, and that could be, it does not return anything. It just lands the ship. And then we could have it could also have a takeoff, void takeoff. So now it can actually take off, and it can also land again. That's it. And let's delete this attribute right there. And this is an interface that this all the flying objects implement, and that means that this could be birds, it could be spaceships, it could be all flying objects that you could think of. And of course, then you want to combine these with a connection. You want to draw these together. And how do we do that? Let us just try right here. Let us just try right here. I'm not that good friends with. Okay, here it actually is. That was like this. Yes, that was. So now I've drawn lines between these two boxes right here, and that is the whole purpose. Because try to imagine if you have hundreds of classes, it could also just be 50 classes. That's enough to make it a bit. So you cannot to make it a bit complex. So you want to have an overview, and you can actually do that like this. So now we actually have an interface right here. We have a class right here, and then the developer that can then now create this without any. Now we can actually have a developer that knows kind of what the data model should look like and what he or she should then code inside the favorite IDE, integrated development environment. That's actually it. This is just UML. So every time if you hear, do you know how to make a UML class? Then do not panic. Do not fear it. It's not that complex. And it just stands for Unified Modeling Language, and it just makes a complex thing. It just turns it into a simple thing when you by visualizing it. So complex thing, visualize it into a simple thing. That is UML. Now let us go to IntelliJ, because I have my Java project right here, and I've created a captain, which I have right here. So I have a captain that has the captain has a name, number of crashes, skill level, and this is just some demo code that I've created earlier. That I used that to show differences between Python and Java. At some point, I have another video about that. You can look it up at my channel. And then, of course, a captain. He has a method right here. He can brag, and the only thing that happens is that the log gets a line where it says brag, 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 and we are actually implementing person right here. The captain implements person, and we all know that most persons can actually jump or make an attempt to jump. So that means that this interface right here, it has a method right here, and of course that was an error right there. I should remove the public. When you have a method on an interface, then it is per default public. So you need to set it to private if it should not be public. So that is the person. That is the captain right here. Then we have a senior captain that extends the regular captain. And the reason why I do that is because I want some lines connected in my UML diagram. That is why I do this. Then I have a spaceship. And this spaceship, it actually has a field of the type captain. And the reason why I have this field right here is because I want to show you that there will be no line in UML between fields and types per default. Of course, you can choose if you want to. You can say that you want your drawings like that, but per default in UML, you will make the lines between inheritance, so they will show the inheritance of interfaces and objects. So classes between interfaces and classes, and then you will have the inheritance visualized, including the fields, including the methods. Let me now show you how it actually works. So I can take a whole package. I can also just mark one class. If you have a whole package like this, you could just right click, then you can go to diagrams, and then you can say show diagram like this, and then you will get the diagram that I'll show you in a minute. But I want to start a bit more humble, so I will double click on a class, and then I'll press Control Alt Shift U for UML. And of course, you could also right click on the class itself, and then you can say that you want a Java class diagram like I get right here. So I'll press that, and then I get this drawing right here. That is because my captain has a lot of annotations, because I'm using Lombok. You can see here, required args constructor, no args constructor, all args constructor, data, SL for J. And here we have the interface person that we talked about just before. Let me just zoom in a little bit and remove some of these windows right here. Okay, so this is a mess. Why we don't want all of those annotations? Can we get rid of them? Maybe we can. Maybe we can't. So maybe we can. We can actually get rid of the fields. That is what I checked right here. We have the fields right here. Okay, let us take one step at a time. So now I have actually a complete drawing of my project of my package and of this class that I chose right here. So I have a person, I have a captain right here, and the captain it implements the person interface. And then we have some fields, and we can remove the fields. If you don't care about fields or constructors or methods, then we can actually keep it simple, like we have it right here. I forgot to look up how to actually not look at all of the annotations because we do not want those, I think. But I'll look up how to get rid of those. Maybe it's not possible actually. Okay, but that's beside the point. Let's not look at all of the annotations. I'll put them over there. And then we have the spaceship right here. The spaceship right here, it actually has some, let's just remove properties. I want the fields instead. Properties are just fields with getters and setters. So we, of course, the properties are much more gives much more information than the fields. The fields, that is usually too much of a detailed level to get those fields right there. But now we can see here we have the senior captain here. He does not have any properties on him or her. Because there are no getters and setters, and there are no member variables on the senior captain right here. Then we have the spaceship, which is right here, and then we have the captain in the middle that has a name, skill level, number of crashes, and then there's a person right here. Now let us try to get the constructors. Then we can see how should we create a captain. We can create a captain by giving a string int, and that is probably the name, and then the skill level, and then the number of crashes that we have right here. A senior captain, just he or she has a default constructor, and the spaceship has a constructor that gives the name and the captain right here. Let us now remove the constructors and look at the methods. So here we have the methods. That is what the classes can actually do. And here I would like to only focus on the public ones. So now that's only the public methods that are shown. So we can jump. Then we have the hash code, the equals, the toString. Those are created. Those are the object methods that we actually have, and those are automatically created by Lombok. Then we have the brag. We also have the brag method right there. The spaceship, it can fly away, and that is actually it also of course has a toString method, hash code, and it equals and another object, and that is because of course all of these classes, they even though you cannot see it, they all extend objects. So okay, now we want to save this because now we have this cool diagram. We can show this to we can document it. We can place it in some kind of we can place it in our documentation system. Maybe we're using Confluence. Maybe you'll be using some Redmine or Wiki or something else. Then we want this saved. So I can press Save UML diagram right there. And then I can save it as UML file and Captain UML. Yeah, let's just name it that. So then we get this file right here. I could also print it out, and I can also turn it into an image. Of course, I can also do that by printing it out. Yeah. We can also, yeah. So that's actually it. Now let us look at the format, because now we save the file. We have a captain.uml file right here, and it is actually that is read only per default. So if I try to remove some classes or anything, then I will say the file is read only. What do I want to do right now? I want actually to make a change on the senior captain. I want to give him a method. Public void give commands. The senior captain can actually give a command, and actually let me just define the logger. That's a nice way to do it. Of course, we'll just say log.info. Do this and do that. So now the senior captain can actually he has a method. He or she has a method. And let us go back to the UML right here. And we cannot see it yet, and that is because we have to close this UML diagram right there. Let me also show. Let me close. Let me actually close all of them. Close other tabs right here, and then press Control Shift Alt U for UML. Senior caption, diagrams, show diagram, Java class diagram, like this, and then I will now show my methods, and here we can see now we have the give command. The give command is right there. So that is just to show you that if you want to refresh something, that you actually have to close it and open it up. If you know another way, maybe press F5 or something. No, it did not help. If you know another way, then please let me know in the comments how to refresh and get this. Of course, it's easy just to open it up again. I know that. And if you open up the old captain.uml, then we actually get the new. Then we actually get the new method signature on the senior caption. And the reason why we get that is what I wanted to show you. The reason why we get this, so we have visual representation, and the method actually always matches the state of your code. So even though we saved the UML file just before, then now when we open it up, we can actually see that it has that we have the senior caption actually has a new method called give command. How is that possible? Let us go to a terminal. I've prepared one here. So if I go right here, then I can show the content of captain.uml. Let us see what actually happens inside this file right here. We have some nodes, so this means that we are using references. We are also storing the X and the Y position of these references. So every time I drag and the boxes around, those positions on the screen will actually be stored in a X and by an X and a Y value right here. But it is references, so it is the method itself is not stored in this XML file right here. The properties are not stored right here. It is references, and then the IntelliJ plugin then will actually take up this class when it starts up the file, and then it will actually load in which by reflection it will load which methods are available and which properties are available also. So that's pretty cool. That's yeah, and it's actually not that large, that file. You will see this is a UML file. If we did not have all of those annotations, then it would be a very short file. I should not have annotated with so many things. And this is you can get a better sense of how small or large it is. There's actually not that much XML to express the whole setup in our UML file right here. So that is UML. That is how to generate a UML file when your project is done, to document what you actually have. And this is also how you can actually use it to design a system before you have actually decoded anything. Then you can use it to design, and you use it as a tool of dialogue, so you can talk about it, and maybe you can you can argue a bit which data model is best. Should you do this or this or that? Then when you're done, then you can Then you can get the documentation for the current state by using the plugins in your IDEs. That is what I wanted to show you. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.